Okay. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here talking to you. So you just told them like almost everything about me, so what I'm supposed to do here now? No. I have a story to tell you. And this story started when I was a young kid. And my father, he was an entrepreneur. And I'm born in 1973, so I'm turning 45 this summer. And in the 70s, being an entrepreneur, that was almost being criminal. Today, it's a job. But my father, he had restaurants, he had nightclubs. Once he decided he wanted to go to Miami to buy boats, and he did. He just went away, like entrepreneurs do. And the fact was that I was really embarrassed of him. All of my friends, they have dads with normal jobs. And mine didn't. And my dad, he always told me, you will end up exactly like me. I said, no way, I will never, ever be like you. And he kept on going. So when I was a teenager, he said to me again, you will end up just like me. And I said, no, I will never, ever be an entrepreneur. But last year and this year, I was nominated as Sweden's most powerful female founder. Maybe that has a little bit with entrepreneurships to do. And being nominated as Sweden's most powerful female founder, of course that meant people were asking me, how come that you are nominated? You don't have million-dollar companies or billion-dollar companies. And I was thinking about that. But then I figured out that it was because I inspire others to build business. And don't be afraid to do something that you never, ever done before. Before I will tell you my story, I want to show you this. The Gender Gap 2017. As you can see, the founders, the blue ones there, as you can see is women, is 17%. Executives is 27%, and programmers and developers are 26%. So it's still a long way to go. And another one is the investments. And this is like awful. The women get $1.46 billion. 1.46. And the men, they get 58. That's a huge difference. But as I said, no, I didn't say that, but I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. And my daughter, she came home 7 years ago. She had a really hard time to learn the math table. So I was looking for an app to her, and I couldn't find one. And I Googled how to make an app. And I found something called Upwork. It's when you hire people all over the world. So I found a programmer in Ukraine, a developer in Nepal, and a designer in Poland. Because I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer, and I never ever worked with IT. But I wanted to have an app. So I Skyped with them from my kitchen table every night. And then we made the Kids Matthew app for my daughter and launched it on App Store. When you are working from your kitchen table, making apps, and you really don't have any clue what you are doing, I thought that was fun and exciting, and I wanted more. So I did 14 more apps in 1 year from the kitchen table, together with the same team, Skyping with them during the nights, trying to tell them what I wanted. And then I founded Stockholm App Lab, as we call it. Then one day, a friend of mine called me, and she said, "You have to turn on the TV, it's a new diet out." And I was like, "Do you really think I should go on a diet?" I don't know. But I looked at the program, and I was thinking, do they have an app? They didn't. This was a guy, his name is Michael Mosley, and he's from England. And he was coming to Stockholm, Sweden, in August to sign his book in Swedish. And the same day, I released the 5-2 Health Diet app. We had over 1,000 downloads every day. And one more thing I did was about the marketing. Today, you don't have to spend $1 million on marketing. You have yourself, your idea, and social media. So in the same time, I built a company in US that I called Susanne's Health. And I hired 3 bloggers, also from Upwork, and they were writing about health food, exercise. And of course, the app was on that site to download. So now I had the app company. And what's the next thing to do then? My programmer from Ukraine, he didn't want to stay in Ukraine. So I hired him, and he came to Sweden together with his wife and daughter. And we were sitting at the same kitchen table and talked about what will we do now. And the thing is that with the 5-2 Health Diet app, we climbed to the first place on App Store. So you can imagine now that we really wanted to make something new. I mean, we were successful with this. And we talked, and he said, maybe we should do an app game. And I was like, an app game? I don't play app games, but why not? I like to dip my toes in things I have no clue about. So we started to talk about what does everybody likes, and everybody likes to play Monopoly. Doesn't matter which age you are in. And then we said, so if I build a hotel in a game app, and you have a coffee shop, and you walk by my hotel, you will probably have to pay me some money for that. And then we thought, maybe we can do this in real. So we did, and that's a location-based game. That's the same as Pokemon. And we started that 2 years before Pokemon. And I know that they are launching it this summer. I'm not a CEO anymore. Thank God. They are making so much better without me. But also, when you are building a game studio, and when you are trying to make a location-based game, that means that you also need money. So it was time for me to take the next step. And that was, how do you talk to investors? And I can't even believe that I'm saying this, but I had no problem getting the money into the company. And I think it's because they believed in me as a founder, and of course also in my idea. But when they looked at me, they could see that this person, this entrepreneur, she will do everything to build up her company. But it also, being an entrepreneur is it's like a roller coaster. And it also comes time when you are crying, when you don't feel so good, and when you are thinking, maybe this isn't something for me. At one time, we had this guy, and he wanted to invest in our company. And I made a mistake 3 months before. I hired 2 programmers that I couldn't keep, and that cost me a lot of money. So that was why we needed more money into the company. And he was at the office. He met the team several times. I talked to him several times. And when we were going to take this amount of money in, he wanted to put all the money in. And the investors I met before, they, you know, some is taking maybe 500,000, some is putting in 1 million, 5 million, but this guy, he wanted to invest all of the money in the company. But he never paid. And the weeks went by, and he was actually sending me fake statements from the bank. And then midsummer came, and I had 10 employees in the company and no money. That wasn't so fun for me, and I was really worried that the whole company would just, you know, go away. And I went home, and the board called me, and they said, you have 48 hours to come up with some money in the company. And when you can calculate that self. If you have 10 employees, programmers from Stockholm, quite expensive, that was a lot of money I needed to take into the company in 48 hours. And I'm a mentor in Stockholm today for startups. And one thing that I always say is your network is one of the most important things when you are building companies. I would never have been such a good entrepreneur that I am today without my network. So when this happened, I grabbed a bottle of wine, I went into my bed, I took my computer, and I looked at my network. So instead of telling my network that it's so sad of me, I really need the money, please help me, I wrote an email that said, you now have 48 hours to invest in the best game studio in Stockholm. So I turned it. And they did. So in about 48 hours, I had the money in the company. So I saved the company through my network. And this network was only females with money. So when we are talking about investments, I need to show you just one more slide with figures. This is how much investments and in Sweden that we are getting. Can you see that? That's 1%. I'm like embarrassed of that. Female-only founders, 1%. That's nothing. And then I wonder if it's because we don't build companies, but we do. There's lots of great female founders in Sweden, but they don't get the money. This is also one thing that when we are pitching, now I'm saying we, sorry for that, guys. They call us young but inexperienced. If I'm not so young, but the younger ones than me. When the male, they are so promising. And that's also one thing, because today, since I have the Birgersdotter studio, I have the Stockholm App Lab, I'm a partner in an investment company, and next week I will start a new business. So many are asking me like, why aren't you just do one thing? Can't you just focus on one thing? But if I were a guy, they say to me, wow, you are so cool, you're doing so many great things. And that's also one thing that we need to change. We need to change the landscape. I think it's so important that women dare to invest in their own entrepreneurship. And they also have to be brave, because it's okay to fail. It's okay if you have one company and you don't succeed with it. You just build another one and another one. And if you lose all your money, you go and work somewhere, and then you go back to your kitchen table, and you do it all over again. If a guy is losing his company, he will sell his car, his house, maybe his mom, but he will do everything for his company. Why don't females do that? Why are they going back and just look themselves in the mirror and said, okay, I didn't succeed? We need to change that. So I think that we need to also lift each other up and help each other. And you can't build business on your own. I always used to say that you need to surround yourself with people that has the skills that you don't have. I mean, if you look at me, I'm not a programmer. I was going to say I'm a programmer, but I'm not a programmer. And of course, I would never had the app company if I didn't worked with people who has the skills that I don't have. And that's the way that you are building big business. So if you have someone, a friend's friend or someone that you think is smart, and you have your own idea, you should grab that person. And you should say, let's do something together. And that's also one thing I always talk to startups about, because they are so afraid to share their company with others. They always want to have the control over everything. And in one way, that can be good. But in another way, sometimes it can be better if you give away a bit of your company to the people you are working with. Because if you do that, they own a bit of this company, and they will work as hard as you are. So, the time is almost up, and I want to say to you, I know I'm talking a lot about, women in tech, and women has to, go out there and do something. And that also, of course, includes the men. We all need to work together. And we all need to open up the doors for each other. You should mentor someone. You should get a mentor. You should be a sounding board. And as I said before, you should really, really try to help each other out, because building businesses on your own is really hard, believe me. So, thank you. I never use this. You can just put it away.
Yeah. A question,
yes.
A very practical one. I guess you see lots of people coming to you with their own ideas,
yep.
Pitch decks and cases.
Every day.
What would be your advice to them? What do you find lacking from what people bring to you?
Yeah.
And what would help them really to stand out in a crowd?
I think, I get about 25 different mails every day with people that has an idea. They need something more than just an idea, because all of us have we think that we have great ideas. But I think it's important that you have some kind of business plan, a one-pager, his pitch, whatever, elevator pitch. Because today, when I'm the partner in the investment company, I look at the founder. And if the founder says to me that, oh, I don't want to eat noodles, I want to have my fancy car, I would never invest in them. I need to feel that they are feeling that the companies are like their babies.
So it's not only that the idea is nice and it makes sense, but it's also that the people can actually pull it off.
The team is so important, because without the team, you can never realize your idea.
It's only when those two are in place you can actually trust the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you
for
all the inspiration.